ESPN Cricinfo Run Order, and I'm having to host this Run Order because our usual hosts, Yash and Ronak, have both been lulled to sleep by 10 days of what was supposed to be exciting Bazball. But unfortunately, the pitches and the soft balls have created for, well, some questionably entertaining test cricket. And I've got the inventor of the term Bazball, Andrew Miller, to justify these conditions. And I've got Vish, who's been at the ground, Osman and George, who've been watching the series keenly. So let me start with Vish, actually, because you've been at the grounds for these two tests. Has this, I mean, we've got results, but has this actually been entertaining test cricket on what have been some pretty placid pitches?
I think generally with entertaining test cricket, we gatekeep it a bit, don't we? We say like, you almost have to have your vegetables at the start of the slow build up to get the final day bonanza, as it were. And I feel like broadly it has been entertaining, but it was predictable, I'd say, by the second test when you knew the ball, or rather there was conditions were going to turn when the ball was 30, 35 overs old, and that we were waiting for new ball spells. That was probably the moment at it, maybe, I suppose, as you said, 10 days, maybe 7 or 8 days into this series, where we're like, is this going to follow a familiar pattern all the way through? So it was entertaining in parts, but then there was a glass shattering moment at Edgbaston, I suppose, when you were like, God, okay, this could follow, all these matches could follow a very specific framework. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to quantify that, so in this series, the new ball batters have been averaging about 30 against it or just above that. But then against the ball, between overs 25 and 80, or even overs 30 and 80, that average gets closer to 80. So again, the matches, yes, they have had fairly entertaining endings in terms of them being quite close and them having results. But there have been long phases of it, haven't there, Miller, where it's just felt like there's nothing for the bowlers.
I think England should be flattered you think that last one was close, but yes, I take your point. I mean, it's I don't know. You complain about everything, don't you? Come to England and the ball's zipping all over the place, and you complain, "Oh, we can't lay a bat on it. It's not fair." Jimmy Anderson's clouding it all over the place, and Virat Kohli's got out for a duck again. I mean, it's, flatten out the pitches, flatten the conditions, and make everyone. Bring everyone into the game a bit more. I mean, England have sacrificed their home strength in giving up the swinging ability with the Duke's ball to prepare to plough it on flat decks to get around the rest of the world. I don't know. You try to level the playing field for everyone, and then no one's pleased by it.
We might have been having a very, very different conversation if both matches had ended in draws rather than last session wins. So that kind of balances out a little bit, in my opinion. But yes, I would much rather prefer a game where 400 in the first innings was not a bad score.
Yeah, man, why are these pitches different from, say, a ranked turner or a green top? On those pitches, we say, well, the batters aren't in the game, batting is a lottery. But here you're seeing, again, large phases of the game where the bowlers just aren't in the game. Even the best bowlers, I mean, Akashdeep bowled brilliantly at Edgbaston, but almost all his wickets were with the new ball. Even Akashdeep with the older ball, I mean, he looked kind of benign, to be honest. So why is this acceptable when we say, well, a 2-day game or a 3-day game on a ranked turner is not?
I mean, I've got to be honest, I don't think the cricket has been that boring. Like the pitches, yeah, sure, they've been given to run making. That's been happening in the Bazball era now since 2022. But even those, I was looking through actually scorecards just before this. There's been plenty of matches where batting has been much more difficult. I think Edgbaston was probably the slowest pitch, and that's what England complained about, wasn't it? I think Vish or somebody reported. I think England weren't happy with how slow this pitch was. Test cricket, you always rely on balls, new ball wickets. Like that's the whole point of Test cricket. That's like an age-old thing that yes, you bat the first 2 hours, you try and survive those first 2 hours, and you work your way through it. By the end, like there was turn in that pitch. There was seam movement in that pitch for bowlers who could find that seam movement. And even we forget Chris Woakes' spell on that first morning. He was desperately unlucky to not end up with more than just the one wicket that he did.
Both sides now seem to be complaining about the ball. The umpires keep putting the ball through the rings. And then I think in this test, through all 4 innings, was the ball changed after about 50 overs or so. And that's not a great reflection of these Duke's cricket balls, is it, Vish?
So in 2018, for that India series, the balls were really good. The cricket was pretty good. The series could have been closer, but England were very happy with the balls. in 2018. At the start of the 2019 summer, with the Ashes coming in, they realised that 2019 brand of Dukes, or that crop of Dukes, wasn't very good. So they basically played the 2019 Ashes with 2018 balls, and then they seem to have gotten worse. And one thing I find quite interesting is it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation, this, because both teams seem to accept outright that as soon as it gets to 35 overs, the ball's not going to nip around as much. The seam is a bit flatter, so let's constantly bowl bouncers. If you bowl bouncers for 15 overs from that point, you're going to ruin the ball, aren't you? That's the nature of bowling bouncers, because they're not even trying to bowl for reverse swing, so they're not even kind of actually take care of one side of the ball. They're just throwing that thing into the ground as hard as possible for 15 overs straight, and occasionally someone like Jamie Smith or Harry Brook is smashing it to the boundary. And so, yeah, it's going to go out of shape. But I don't know if it's them assuming it's going to go bad and actually not even trying to bowl full and seeing if there's some juice left in the ball, or if it's just, the natural way of balls at the moment. But yeah, I kind of want to ask them, but they never tell us the truth anyway. So it's really hard to discern what the actual issue is.
But do we know why the balls have been going softer? Like, what has caused this in the last 2 years? Because Hazelwood complained about it in the West Indies as well, where they're using the Dukes. He said, I've never bowled with a 70-over ball that's been this soft before.
So one of the things that came up during COVID was because they laid off a lot of people, there was fewer, I suppose the quality control went down a bit. And one of the most amazing quotes given during that time was that we have to accept, I'm just remembering this off the top of my head because I looked at it yesterday, we have to accept that all cows are different. So maybe it's a cow problem, yeah? Maybe the cows are not doing their bit for the Duke's cricket ball. We just don't know.
I blame Brexit. I reckon the cows are being fed subgrade corn because of Brexit. That'd be my diagnosis.
I love that.
Yeah.
So the next question is, we're moving on to Lords, and where the World Test Championship pitch started out spicy against South Africa, but then it flattened out quite dramatically over the last couple of days. So I don't know, are England going to try and get some more spice in the wicket? But Bumrah is coming back for India, so it's all going to be quite interesting.
They have asked for that. McCullum at the end of yesterday, when him and both Stokes thought the Edgbaston pitch was actually more subcontinental than English, because it deteriorated, which is a weird thing to say because that's what pitches are supposed to do. But McCullum seemed very confident that Lords would be skewed more towards England's needs than India. So
whatever those needs may be. we
which is apparently pace, carry, and something for everyone, which is like, okay, very vague orders, but just tell us what you actually want.
You know what? More even than Brexit, I actually blame the Ashes for all of this. I think England have realised that after getting whopped in the Ashes every bloody 4 years, every time they go out to Australia, that they cannot continue bowling on green seamers at home, getting medium paces, nipping the ball all over the place, and winning endlessly at home, and then getting squashed overseas. The best way to equalise that is to end up with a pitches in England that replicate what they'll get in Australia. So, as you say, the ball has 30 overs lifespan, each new ball. Hello, that's a kookaburra, basically. The pitch doesn't really go left and right. Hello, that's a standard Australia pitch. It's like, heavy duty seam bowlers banging it in, putting in hard yakka, batsmen getting lots of runs, and somehow ending up with a result at the end of it is pretty much every Test match that's ever been in Australia ever. And so
the irony to that is that Australian surfaces have been spicier than they have been for years.
Yeah.
The last
that's because they're scared of Bazball. That's because Australia's scared of Bazball, and they don't want to lose to England.
Bazball is at fault for India being 36 all out at Adelaide, basically. That's
exactly that. So Bazball wins. Bazball beat you there. There you go.
The other thing, just quickly on the high scores in the series, also is that this is not England's best attack playing. I don't think England's first choice ideal attack, Atkinson makes a difference to this attack quite a fair bit. Jofra Archer, I don't know, he should theoretically make a difference, but if Atkinson had been playing those two Test matches, I'm not pinning it all on him, but that he makes a difference to England's attack right now.
An Indian perspective, you think if the pitches were slightly spicier, and we went into the series thinking India's batting might be a problem in England because of how inexperienced they were in these conditions. It would have, challenged India a lot more, I think, because unless England, because in the Bazball era, they don't really defend all that much anymore. So a spicy thing would, a helpful track for the quicks would expose their approach as well. Maybe that was the thinking there, because man to man, I think England do have better quality batters for these conditions if the ball was moving a little bit. That would have been my perspective on things.
Yeah. Anyway, with that, for what it's worth, Shubman Gill says that these pitches and these balls are kind of sucking the essence out of the game. He says it's not a fair contest between bat and ball. Is that just mind games, or is he saying that, or is he undervaluing his 400 plus runs in the last test? I don't know. But anyway, we'll quickly go around the room and just ask, are you hoping for similar pitches for the rest of the series, or are you hoping for a little bit more spice?
It'd be nice to have different kind of surfaces throughout, including one that maybe towards the end of the summer starts helping spinners more.
Okay. Vish?
I actually think I'm going to go with Osman's first answer when we started this. I think they have been fine, and I think they should keep them as they are, because actually everyone has been involved so far. So I'm pretty happy with how they are.
Miller, do you want to go?
I like them quicker, but I'm not bothered by the overall quality of the pitches. But, broadly speaking, nor am I bothered really about ranked turners either and green seamers. I quite like the variety we get across all of cricket. It just so happens it's been a particularly dry summer here as well, which has been a big factor. I think it's easy to overlook that, all the talk about the Ashes. But it hasn't rained barely until last night, basically. That's the first time it's rained in months. So, I wouldn't anticipate huge changes, particularly at Lords, where the drainage is mental. So it will be dry and flat and a road, probably.
George?
Yeah, I'd like to see a surface where, 350 to 400 is a good first innings.
Okay, so there we go. Some of us want variety in the pitches. Some of us want them to stay the same. Anyway, you guys tell us what you think about the pitches and the conditions in the comments. That's been Cricinfo Runorder.